Hi guys, my name is Nonima Tigela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about why Mjiago is not defending himself wherever he is. Uchone Mboneni. Why do I think that he's not coming out? Okay. Firstly, Dominic Mjiago is not like is a quickest clean person. No, he's not a quickly clean person. He has his own troubles. And I think resurfacing like that in public where people will be like, oh, there is Njiago. It will bring eyes on him, guys, I suppose. But I think the reason he can't come out, he knows that there's a lot at stake for him too, just like Gininda there is, Baloyi there is. But there's a lot at stake for him too as Njiago. I think he is unable to come out because if you remember, there were allegations of him being arrested for uh, armed robbery of a cigarette truck back in 2016. If I recall correctly, it was on the news. I mean, on the newspapers, and that case and another one. I don't remember the second one. It was for what? But those two cases, in my view, it could be something that he is being blackmailed for. It could be something that he is being blackmailed for to come and stand in. Do you understand? The other issue that I think is because Umjiako will never be able to come here is that during 2020, apparently he was working for Johannesburg, City of Joburg. Apparently, he was working for City of Joburg, and you can't have side hustle when you work for the City of Joburg. I'm looking for something quickly here. Someone sent to me. I'm gonna read to you why Mjiago. It's not easy for him to come and defend himself. I'm gonna share that with you now. What was that girl? Send it to me. I'm gonna read that to you now. Okay, there. I got it. I got it. I'm gonna read this to you right here. Come on, open. Someone Debbie else is writing. I think this is Facebook. Uti, the more I dig, the more the dots are connecting. How all the implicate. Okay, let me not start on this one. Let me start on. Okay. Yes, here it starts. Dominic Mjiago, what happened to your tender fraud allegations or case when you were working at COJ? And how do you still become an advocate on the bar? You were working at Crime Intelligence as a captain and then went to COJ to work there. Sibia was fired from SEPS and went to COJ to work there, was flagged for catching on ish, then goes back to SEPS as a deputy national commissioner, both involved in Senzo Meyiwa. When you, Sibia, were not working for SEPS anymore but had meetings with the accused and Mjiago represents one of the accused with no mandate just to get a confession done in front of a magistrate unlawfully. Now tell me, how is this case not cooked? There's more to come. And then this person goes on to say, the more I dig, the more the dots are connecting. How all the implicated are connected to each other. So Sibia worked for COJ, right? Dominic Mjiago also worked at COJ. COJ is City of Johannesburg. Both worked for SEPS before City of Johannesburg. Mjiago was a captain at Crime Intelligence. Now, as far as the law goes, you can't do side jobs when you work for the government. It is against the law for a public official to have a side business or job while working for government, according to the Municipal System Act and the Code of Conduct. Now, Danzi was represented by Mjiago without having a mandate from Danzi. Nobody knows how he knew about Danzi or who told him to represent Danzi. And he did this in June 2020 while still working at City of Johannesburg. Again, is it a coincidence that Sibia also worked there? So Sibia worked. Okay, I read this. Oh, so Sibia worked at COJ, right? Dominic also worked at COJ. Both worked at okay, I've read again. Now Dancis, okay. Again, is it a coincidence that Sibia also worked there? Who also at the crimes, who was also at the crime scene in 2014, who allegedly told the officers there to clean the crime scene. Was Mjiako asked to go to court just to be there while Magistrate Coronia took a fabricated confession organized by Gininda to be continued? So do you see these allegations? It's who? Debbie else on Facebook, I believe. I believe this is Facebook. Do you see why Abom Giako J are connected to one another? So Gininda can't say Agamazu Giako. He can't give us that. He knows Mjiako. If Mjiako was a captain at crime intelligence and Gininda at some point at crime intelligence, that is Sepsmos. That is Seps. So there is no way that he can say crime, he doesn't know this guy. He must not give us that. Okay. So please, Jay, he must not undermine our intelligence like that. And they also, the other thing that will never make Umjiako like come and like, no, my name is being dragged on the mud, blah, blah, blah. It's because if Advocate Umjiako testifies, of course, there is no client attorney privilege right here. It disappeared the moment Utanzi said, I don't know him. I didn't give him any mandate. So there is none of that currently. But he can be asked about the docket, the consultation records, FFC numbers, instructions, documentation trays. Does he have any of that? And that is dangerous for him because once questioned, the absence of proof becomes impossible to explain. A handwritten note written later proves nothing. Anyone can write that. Courts demand objective, contemporaneous evidence. Does he have that to prove that he got a call from Undanzi? And if this call he got it while Undanzi was sitting somewhere in a cell in Queenswood or wherever, again, that brings us to questions. It's not helping anyone. So do you see how troubled Mjiako's life is for him to get scrutinized? One man jive here in the courts of Judge Rata. Do you see? Besides him not wanting to come and clear his name, if Judge Rata is for the states, Judge Rata is not going to call no Mjiako because once Mjiako comes and rubbishes the state, then the so-called confession of Danzi dies. It's going to be out of the window permanently. It's 1 foot in, 1 foot out right now. But now if he comes and says, you know what, I'm sick and tired of this. Now I don't even know this. I was asked by Gininda to come. If let's say he comes and says that, so I said that because Gininda said I must do so. End of confession. Now the confessions will be what? Illegal. So if Judge Rata is playing for the state, then Judge Rata won't evoke no section 186 for this man to come. Now as we finalize this, let's close this cleanly. Sibe clear. There is no proof of consultation on the 23rd. As much as Gininda is alleging there was consultation, Undanzi is denying that vehemently. It did not happen. Vehemently, he is saying it never happened. No lawful basis for advising a second confession. No credibility in the went against my advice story that Mjiako may come and say if he were to come, but I doubt he would come. No procedural integrity that they can show us, which means one thing, the second confession is poisoned. The narrative collapses and credibility is destroyed, not only for Mjiako, but for also Brigadier Gininda. Do you understand? And this is not just opinions. This is logic. This is law. And once you use it, you can never unsee it. If you use your medulla, you see things as they are. Once you see things as they are, once you see it, you can't come and say, I don't see it anymore. You can't unsee something that you've seen. You can't unrealize something that you have realized. No ways. So it is what it is. What are your thoughts when it comes to this? Do you think Umjiako would come to court? I don't think so. He's too clouded by a lot of things. There's too much mud around him. I don't see him coming. I'll see you on our next video. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.